Good morning. Welcome back to the Digital Ledger channel, everybody. I wanted to do a quick deep dive here as quickly as we can on TradeFinex smart bonds and the XDC use case. Now, there's a couple things we want to take in mind here. XinFin, the first of its kind public-private hybrid blockchain. XinFin's first of its kind public-private hybrid blockchain architecture powered by the XDC01 protocol with XDC as the native digital asset. Okay, this is a great article. It came out August of last year, 2019, by Charles Lee. Shout out to Charles Lee for that. I want to run through this as quickly as possible. And basically, you'll hear the token XDC and XDCE mentioned. XDCE is a representation of the XDC token on the Ethereum network via a ERC20 token. So it's just a representation of the XDC token on the Ethereum network when you see XDCE. It is a 1-to-1 ratio. Okay, so XDC protocol, XDC01 protocol with the XDC token as a native digital asset. XinFin, founded in 2017. Since then, the organization has been faithfully walking their strategic journey, and achievement almost every significant milestone that they had set, despite the prolonged crypto bear market that we had experienced in the start of 2018. Again, this article shows the timeline of what they're doing. I'm not going to run through that here. I want to stay overview of what's going on here because there's another page from their website I want to look at as well. XinFin's hybrid blockchain combines availability, transparency, and decentralization benefits of public blockchain, along with security, privacy, high transaction speed benefits of a private blockchain. XinFin blockchain boasts a mere 2-second transaction settlement time, negligibly a small transaction fees throughput of 2,000 transactions per second. These features are in many ways far superior than most of the XinFin's counterparts. XinFin has been making great strides in terms of partnerships and alliances. We're going to speak more on that here in a few minutes, which arguably the most important elements that needs to be looked at when assessing a blockchain project. You got that right, and we're going to. Such partnerships and alliances include the likes of R3 and its Corda ecosystem, Circle, a global digital asset company, Abu Dhabi Global Market, an international financial center of UAE, Official Monetary Financial Institutions Forum, OMFIF, BPI, France, a $60 billion Euro public investment bank owner by the French government, Ramco Systems, a global enterprise software specialist with more than 1,000 financial institutions as customers since inception, University of California, Berkeley, in the form of a blockchain research lab, and Nanyang Technological University of Singapore, and AIX, a leading AI trading platform backed by FINRA, registered Wall Street brokerage firm. This article will be one of many articles covering the different parts of XinFin ecosystem with the aim to better educate both the existing as well as prospective retail investors. In the first article, I will be explaining one of the main use cases of XinFin and the XDC ecosystem, TradeFinex smart bonds and the XDC use case. Now, I have been speaking about the bond market and how important it is that they build a bond market in this crypto digital asset space. And it looks to me that they realize the significance as well. And I'm going to tell you, I'm not endorsing anything, nor do I don't endorse XRP, and I don't endorse any coin. I just cover them. But I will say that this is positive I believe, from the approach of the team, and to recognize that there needs to be a bond market at all. So let's talk about this a little bit. It goes over here. What is a bond in layman's terms? A bond is an issuance of a certificate that allows the company to borrow money from individual investors or groups and be able to pursue their business needs and grow. Quite simply, I'm just going to leave it as that so we don't get stuck and bogged down with the bond market and how you could do the different returns and set those up. You know, you have a couple options when you have a company. You could do a loan. You could, if you have shares on your company, you could create equity shares, and you could also issue bonds. So this is speaking to the bond market specifically here. And then it goes through and breaks down what bonds are. And we can do a special on that, and I think that's a really good idea. But for today, I want to keep moving. What are the benefits of having a bond as a smart contract? Well, now here we go. In traditional financing, a bond issuance such as the above would be a manual process. However, deploying a bond as a smart contract has the following advantages: trust, transparency, autonomy, accuracy, and speed, savings, and safety. Now, I believe, if just going back for a second to David Schwartz's announcement in October of 2019, that you could issue stable coins off the XRP ledger and off of XRP or any asset of value, I believe that that opened the door for us to see the potential of a bond market to be built there as well. I believe that because I believe that there is collateral pools that have been put together over the last several years. This is me speculating, but I certainly believe this. I believe that reserve collateral pools have been put together and they're not necessarily on the ledger as of yet. However, once they begin to collateralize these assets and place them on the ledger and possibly get an issuance of XRP as an IOU and then a stable coin, you've just created a bond market per se. This, to me, is what needs to happen in a grand way with the US dollar and all the fiat of the world that has a bond market, obviously, in order to really create a true sustainable system in the new digital asset space. However, let's get back to these things here, and they're correct in this. No matter what asset we're talking about, smart contracts as bonds is a great way to restore confidence and rebuild that market in general. So I want to move through this pretty quickly. It shows here an illustration of how the bond is represented on TradeFinex. A smart contract for a bond is called a smart bond. Any existing bond or bond issuance can be created and deployed on the TradeFinex platform using the following process. User login, there you go. There's your create bond. There's your issuance. There's a deploy bonds, and then you get the money for the bonds, and then there you go. All right, so it walks you through that. I want to keep moving here because I want to go to their website. It says TradeFinex is a fantastic global platform that will bring many global suppliers, borrowers, financiers from all over the world. Thanks to XinFin's superior hybrid blockchain technology, the participants are able to engage in international trade finance in a drastically improved way that was previously not possible. Where does XDC get used in the TradeFinex smart bonds process? There are multiple ways in which XDC can be used in the bond issuance. Paying XDC as a processing fee on exchange.tradefinex.org. The TradeFinex platform is powered by the XDC01 protocol, and a small processing fee is charged in XDC to deploy a bond onto the platform. All right, so where is XDC used? In order to record and deploy a smart bond on the platform, a small amount of XDC is required to be paid to process the deployment. Lending and borrowing the XDC-backed stablecoin, a stablecoin, for example, called XSC, XinFin stablecoin, can be issued at a conversion rate of 1 XSC equals 1 XDC. Lender B can purchase 100 million equivalent of XSC and lend that to a borrower A, and borrower A pay the same number of XSC to lender B when the bond expires, which is exactly what I just explained about the XRP ledger, right? So to me, look, I mean, do we have one bond market that currently exists in the traditional space? No. So would it make sense if there's a potential growing bond market across many different networks? Yes. Let's keep going. Such a stablecoin will be backed by multiple XDC as collateral, protect against the fall in value of XDC, for example. A ratio of 1 to 5 would imply that 5 XDC will be used to back the 1 XSC. In this case, even though 1 XSC equals 1 XDC, additional 4 XDC would be held as collateral to protect against the reduction in the value of XDC. So this is what we're talking about, over collateralization to protect from any kind of a price shock to the system. I believe that in large part, whether it's the bond market or we're just talking about the digital asset space now, you know, the intent overall for me and digital assets is that we begin to move from a fiat-backed system, which is backed by nothing other than the say-so of the ability to redeem it, for a good or service. I think we're moving to an asset-backed system, a collateral-backed system. And to over-collateralize that position, so this new digitized system, tokenized system, never takes too big of a shock to the price of the asset itself. So here we go. So it moves through this. Where's XDC used? The 5 XDCs in this case will be locked into the XinFin blockchain and only released when the bond expires. And this creates scarcity. And this is the same thing we've talked about with David Schwartz when I was at Swell in Singapore, and the things that he mentioned on the video that he put out about stablecoins off the ledger, is to over collateralize that position so there's a buffer for any price shock. And this creates scarcity as you lock up the virtual physical asset itself, right? So, okay, so here we go. Settlement on the trade platform is significantly quicker compared to fiat. The expediency, the velocity of money here creates a restoration in the confidence of the market, I believe, all across the board, whether we're talking about XDC or XRP. XDC backed stablecoin is most likely going to be fully regulated, hence will be more transparent than the USDT Tether. Participate and support growth and stability of the XDC ecosystem, increase value of the XDC asset as a result of reduced supply. We just talked about potential upside gain from an increase in the value of XDC, benefit from the protection against falls in the value by locking up an over collateralized position, drastically reduce the cost of foreign exchange fees and lender B and borrower A, which is a huge point here. No matter what digital asset we're talking about transaction settlement and getting us down to either zero or micro fees. That's the key to unlocking capital and then creating the velocity of money outside of that. All right, so XSC could be represented as an IOU on globally accepted standard of internet-based value exchange mechanism called the Interledger Protocol. Interesting. And the value could be exchanged into other forms of fiat, digital asset, or commodities with minimal friction and cost of conversion. Well, the devil lies in the details, doesn't it? XSC. Let's go ahead and hit this part. This is an important part here, right? The X stablecoin from XDC that represents that asset could be represented as an IOU on the globally accepted standard of internet-based value exchange mechanism called the Interledger Protocol. Yep. Oh, I'm sorry. Who invented that again? Oh, Ripple. That's right, Ripple. Everything runs on Ripple. Get used to it. So there we have it. Now, these people that sit out here and they talk about the fact that, oh, it's going to take over Ripple, it's going to take over XRP and all of this. Well, funny enough, I think they'll work together, right? I think they'll work together to serve many different markets is what I'm seeing. Looking down here, the advantages of using USD-backed stablecoins are as follows, right? And let's look at this for a second. Settlement of XinFin TradeFinex platform is significantly quicker compared to fiat. UBSC could be represented as an IOU and the value could be exchanged to other forms of fiat, digital asset, or commodities. I'm sorry, what is it again? Using the Interledger Protocol with minimal friction and cost of conversion. Again, pointing to the interoperability strategic plan of Ripple to make sure that the ILP is interoperable, because it's not, as they say, distributed ledger technology per se. It is a protocol that is developed to interface and interact with any protocol, with any technology, to be able to exchange that value. That is the remarkable part here. So we keep going. All right, so I want to make sure I don't miss anything, because I did read this a couple times through already. I actually read this back in August of 2019 when it came out, and it's a really great article by Charles Lee. Shout out to him again. Okay, I'm pretty sure that's where I wanted to go there. So let's go over to here. Let's go to the website, right? Where's that at here? This is the website. Here's where we wanted to go. Enterprise-ready hybrid blockchain for global trade and finance. That obviously interoperates well and touts its ability to work with the ILP, interestingly enough, which I would imagine in any regard is probably going to use XRP in between all of it. So, XChange-Infinite-XinFin is a delegated proof-of-stake consensus network enabling hybrid relay bridges, instant blockchain finality, and interoperability with ISO 20022 messaging standards, making XinFin's hybrid architecture developer-friendly. I'm just going to brush over these. Interoperable blockchain network for global trade and finance, which enables digitization, tokenization, and instant settlement of trade transactions, increases efficiency, and reduces reliance on complex FX infrastructures, allowing the increased flexibility and liquidity management for financial institutions. I had to be honest, what this looks like to me is a positive thing, but what it does look like to me is it looks like to me like a network that I see as a layer for almost like other companies to use to say, hey, you don't have to develop your own token. You don't have to develop your own team and put together a blockchain for you. You could simply plug into this and use this. And then back end, I think we see XRP settle everything that has friction between the ILP through the XRP ledger. Okay, delegated proof of stake leverages the power of stakeholders' approval voting to resolve consensus, issuing in a fair democratic way. ISO 20022 compatible messaging for private and hybrid state. Higher interoperability with legacy systems and other blockchain platforms makes XinFin Protocol XDC the language of core banking systems, ERP system, and SWIFT systems, and many more. Well, let's go ahead down here. And let's look at the partnerships and associations and alliances. Cooper, AIX, R3, nice. Soda Tech, Abu Dhabi Global Market, which we heard. Circle, heard of them, backed by Goldman Sachs. Temasek, Polytechnic, Ramco, Insoft, Asocham in India, and Nanyang Technological University in Singapore, and they forgot to put Berkeley, University of California, on there as well, right? My question here is, like I said, I see plenty enough room for everybody, all boats to rise. The bond markets of this world are enormous. However, I'm interested where the liquidity is going to come from. Yeah, bit of a sticky point. So the reality is, it looks like they're doing good things. It looks like they've, really got a good thing going. I'm not trying to sell you a bridge, but the reality is it looks like a solid project. But where does the liquidity come from to settle all of this friction? If I don't have collateral to back the asset and to inject liquidity, water in the pool, if you will, XDC and XDCE just might as well be marbles, hadn't it? Just food for thought. Anyway, I'm excited about what I'm looking at here, and it is exciting. I want to keep a closer eye on it, and until I answer that question, I still haven't. All right, that's going to do it for me. Make sure you hit the like and subscribe. If you like the content, please hit the like and subscribe and share this with somebody on social media. We'll catch you guys on the next one. Take care.